Guys can see it. Look, this is an outside shower. Now I'm shooting a video from the Maldives. This is the Ritz-Carlton. I'm telling y'all because I know some people, like-minded people like myself, you know, we the type of people that you see something, you put it on your, your to-do list. You set a goal, you have a vision, you want to go make it happen. And I know sometimes, a lot of times we see people do stuff and they don't tell you where they at. They don't tell you, because they want to keep it to themselves. They want to be secretive about it. No, the Maldives, the Ritz-Carlton did not pay me to come out here. No, they did not pay me to say their name or to mention them. You just got to give credit where credit is due. Nah, Ritz-Carlton, y'all can't send me a check now if you feel so led. But I want to talk to you. I'm going to show you this view instead of showing you my face, because I want you to win. You got to excuse the wind now, so this is going to be a tough one. You got to forgive the wind, but hey, it is what it is. You got to listen hard, But because to be honest with you, I remember playing football and hearing this saying, when you would score a touchdown, it was a saying that said, act like you've been there before. And what they were saying is, what in the world? What in the world? They would be like, act like you've been there before. And really what they were saying is, don't be doing no dance. Don't be out here doing no dance and all of that. But it's sometimes that you do things or you go places and you can't act like you've been there before, because you got to take it all in and you got to be able to really be thankful and really have an attitude of gratitude, because nothing is promised and nothing is given. Everything got to be earned. And I'm going to tell you, myself, like, growing up, and you only see a few ways that you could make it. And I'm going to be transparent with y'all on this, because I know you visualizing and things of that nature. You only see a few ways you can make it out sometimes, depending on where you come from and depending on your upbringing, your family situation. Now, some people were blessed enough to have parents who, if you had anybody taking care of you, you blessed. But some people had, and I won't say blessed as if you did not have that you weren't still blessed. But some people had parents that would say, or guardian, because sometimes your grandma, your auntie, that would say, what this is, okay, piece of mint, that would say, hey, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be a dentist, you could be a pharmacist. And they would shoot for those things. That don't mean that brings happiness. That doesn't mean it brings peace. That doesn't mean that's what success is. I know a lot of doctors and lawyers who do it for a couple of years and then go chase their passion, what they really want to be, where their gifts really lie, but their parents or whoever told them, hey, do this for job security. And they did it and it was miserable. I know a lot of corporate professionals retiring from the corporate world to be entrepreneurs, to write a book, to become a speaker, to become a life coach, to become a chef, become an interior designer, fashion designer, a stylist. And I see that. But for myself, this right here, honestly, is surreal to me, because I remember telling my mom, I think I'm gonna be a school teacher and like a basketball coach. And she was like, oh baby, that would be amazing. That would be so amazing. And she was like, honestly, baby, I just want you to graduate high school. Like, if you graduate high school, I would be so happy. But that's where she come from. And the school teacher and the basketball coach, that's a great thing. That's a very noble job to have, because you're helping in more than one way. It's not just earning money, you giving back. And that was, the extent of my goal. Now, of course, you're helping those students and you're helping the team, but look what God has me doing today. And my mother could not fathom this. My dad could not fathom this. I didn't know how it would look. I didn't see the vision plain. I just knew that I would be, that I would, from the age of 7, I saw like a platform. I thought it was sports though. I thought it was sports and me sharing, the gospel, but from a platform of sports. And I didn't know it would come like this. I didn't know it would be as a speaker or coach, author, whatever you would call it. And to be sitting here today and to have, worked and sacrificed. My toe pink. A lot of men toe be brown. My toe pink. One thing about it, although I played football till the age of 21, played sports all my life, I thank God my feet ain't get tore up from the floor up. But back to what I was saying. But to be over here and to have worked and to have sacrifice, and I try to tell people all the time, sacrifice, it come in many different ways, and for each person it might look different. And although you giving up on your flesh want to do something, sacrifice can also be abstaining from the fleshly desires that you may have. And so in this day and age, with the way the world is, I could very easily have at least 2 women, 3 women. But I decided, hey, let me die out to my flesh. I could be in the club every week. I could be in the casino every week. I could be, watching stuff I'm not supposed to be watching every day. Doing stuff I'm not supposed to be doing every day. But I chose to sacrifice in those areas and to pray for the strength and to go without those things. And I chose to really discipline myself in those ways. And I chose just to serve and to be obedient. And for me, you're supposed to either have somebody else put you on, somebody else make it, and then they give you some money. They take you around the world with them. You're supposed to play ball. You're supposed to make music. Or you're supposed to sell drugs or do scamming. And I come from a town of 5,000. It was mixed, but if anybody listening, if you from a town of like 20,000 or less, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, and how not a lot of people from your town make it out. Like, not a lot of people leave there. Some people in towns like that never leave that city. Like, never once their entire life. Like 50% of the people never live in another city. And then the ones who go to another city, it's for college 9 out of 10 times, or it's for like the service, for the army. And then most of the time they come back to that city, to serve, to work, or just it's because it's a comfort zone. Because it's like, hey, I have a name here. It's easy to build here, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that at all. But again, it's a comfort zone, and it takes something different to get out your comfort zone and be in a city where nobody knows you, or be in a world where nobody knows you. Because even in my city, nobody majority of the people that live there who support me online don't know I live there. Man, that yacht nice. I've been having mixed feelings about doing a yacht trip, because you could do a yacht trip and be on there for like a week. But it was raining earlier today, and me and my wife was like, man, what happened? You stuck in the rain, the storm, and all of that. Back to what I was saying. This may be a long video because I'm just taking it a moment, and I never want to let a moment get by where somebody could get something and not get nothing. You know, I had to share this. I'm not even working this week. I don't be on my phone, but I told my wife, I said I might need to shoot some videos from here, and she said, yeah, you should. She support me. She taking a nap right now because I'll get into the logistics of the trip later. But, you know, to be here where I am in life, and then also where I am right now, I remember seeing this on Maldives years ago, and I remember going, and it was like, the flight was probably like, you know, a coach flight was like 15,000 to 20,000 round trip. But the places to stay that I saw, of course, it's much cheaper now. They got all kind of different sites and deals and stuff. But back then, like, to stay where I wanted to stay, it was like, you know, thousands per night, like 5,000 a night. And I was like, man, that just is impossible to do. It's like you spending a lot one way or the other. You spending a lot on the flight, or you spending a lot on the hotel, one or the other. And so I just didn't really see it happening no time soon. I didn't know how it would happen. But just, you know, just working, just put my hand to the plow and just serving it every step of the way, not knowing. That's why you have to walk by faith, because you have no clue how it's gonna work out. You just gotta keep working. Like, you gotta keep going, and you have to do what's in front of you. And that's what I was telling my son not long ago. I said, son, I just did what was in front of me. Like, they put MySpace in front of me. I said, let me master MySpace. They put Facebook in front of me. I said, let me master Facebook. They put Twitter in front of me. I said, let me master Twitter. Then they put Facebook business pages in front of me. I said, let me master the Facebook business page. Then they put Instagram in front of me. I said, let me master Instagram. They put YouTube in front of me. I said, let me master YouTube. I tried Snapchat. I tried LinkedIn. I didn't like either of those, so I didn't care to do that. But I just took the next logical step. And I think a lot of times when I'm coaching and stuff, and people like, Tony, I got so much in me, I want to do so much. You know, where do I get started? You know, how do I do it? I said, just take the next step. Like, you know, you thinking about your community center and your book and your restaurant and your coaching business. I'm like, what can you do immediately right now? It's like the life coach certification course, that's right there in front of you. MyMentor.life, that's right there in front of you. Writing your book, like just sitting down and writing your book, that's right there in front of you. Creating your online course, that's right there in front of you. Like, do the things that's right there in front of you, because this community center dream, this nonprofit dream to where you want to really kind of save your whole city. Yeah, that's going to take tens of thousands. So build up right now with what you can, where you at. Build up there, and then go from there. And so that's what I did, just one step at a time. And the way it works is, you know, when you do that, you doing one step at a time. And I remember every step of the way, like the way we measure success in the world typically is money is like a measuring stick. It should not be the only one, but it is one of them. It's like if you say you have a successful business, to the layman or to the expert, a successful business means you're producing income, you're producing revenue, and that your revenue your gains are greater than your losses. What kind of bird is that? Does that look like a bat? Oh my goodness, is that a bat flying through the air? That thing is a bat. That ain't not no bird. What? In the Maldives. We got a jet ski, man. Right? They doing too. Today we were supposed to do shark snorkeling, but it got canceled because of the other weather. The waters was a little too choppy. And I was telling the Lord, thank you, because I was tired. I was on a wing and a prayer. So I'm happy that thing got canceled. And so this is the thing. You have to be able to just take that next step. And you don't know where it's going to take you. And I remember, being a man who is married, providing was always on my mind. I've been married since 23. So a lot of times people think, people hear me talking, they'll think I'm focused on money, or I talk about money, or I think about money too much. But it's less about money and more about providing. And not just providing like just over broke, J-O-B, just getting by. For me, it's about giving my family a cushion where my sons could live in peace. My wife could be in peace. I'm putting up a bunch of GoPro video from the Maldives, and it blessed my heart that my wife have nice clothing items and nice shoes. Like, that's my goal. Like, I don't want to just get by. I want to have abundance. I want my sons to have abundance. But they also going to understand the sacrifice, and they're going to understand the work that it took. They're going to understand the heart's dedication as well. But I say that to say, I remember earning $20,000 a year on the job for 5 years. And I was saying to myself, man, I want to make $100,000 a year. And then I remember saying to myself, that is crazy. How in the world would you make $100,000 a year? And then I got there. Just putting one foot in front of the other. Just using what they gave me. And just looking at my gifts and saying, okay, what can I do with these gifts? What next can I do with these gifts? And that's why I try to help people understand, like, when God created the world, God didn't create a university. When God created the world, he didn't create a school system. He gave you a gift. He gave you breath and natural gifts. So a lot of us, we dependent on a degree. We dependent on a certification. We dependent on a training. But your gift, you don't need any of that. Like, even in life coaching, certification is recommended. It's not required by law. You could be a coach without getting certified if you know how to market yourself. That's what you learning in the course, how to market yourself, and you learn about the business. If you already know the business, you already know how to market yourself, then you don't need to get certified unless you're trying to go into certain circles that require certification. Like my mentor.life requires a certification. But when I got started as a coach, there were no certification courses that I knew of. That was 2007. I didn't have a mentor. I just used the gift. I used the gift. And that's why I try to help people understand, like, I don't have a college degree. I don't have a mentor. I just hired an assistant like 2 months ago. And I pay her $450 a week, and I really don't have any work for her. I have to make up stuff. She's in a whole nother state. She's in California, and she's actually one of my clients. She hired me for a coaching session, and on that session, she told me she's an office assistant and that she makes $420 an hour. But she was working for her ex-boyfriend's mom. And that's how I found my assistant. God sent her to my doorstep, because for the last months I've been saying I need an assistant, just do like little random stuff. I ain't got time to do like the t-shirts that I posted on the community page. She set that up. She went to Fiverr. She got the designs made. She put the designs on the t-shirts. She set up the t-shirts website. She built that, set that up. She launched it. So that's the kind of stuff she's doing for $450 a week. I don't know how much she may work 10 hours. She may, some weeks maybe 20 hours. I don't know. But if she worked 10 hours, that means she making $45 an hour. If she worked less than that, if she worked 1 hour, that means she make $450 an hour. It's gonna fluctuate. For now, it'll get harder and harder. But I just give her random stuff. But see, look, that's a lesson in itself. What did she do? She invested in herself. She was making $420 a week. A coaching session with me is $400 at that time when she booked, I believe. Could have been $350. She spent a week's worth of pay to get on the phone and talk to me about her relationship. She invested in herself, and look at the return on investment. Look at the return on investment. And I remember, you know, looking up on Instagram, I read her spirit. I could see that she didn't have any Jezebel in her spirit. Good spirit. I sent her picture to my wife, and I said, she look honest, don't she? She look trustworthy, don't she? My wife said, yes, she does. Because you can see people's spirit. You can see people's spirit. And so I hired her. I offered her a job. I said, think about it. She wrote me a week or two later, and she said, Tony, I put in my 2 weeks notice. If the job is still available, let me know. And I hired her. We got started. First couple weeks, she ain't had no work. She made the first 900 real easy. I say that to say it's just one foot in front of the other. She wasn't thinking, well, I don't know, maybe she could have thought she wanted to, you know, be my assistant. I doubt it. That didn't come up at all. We talked all about a relationship, and that came to me. But see, this is the thing when I try to help people understand is it's about just going. It's about taking that next step. It's about being intentional. It's about believing. It's about walking by faith. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Me, one thing I've always done, I've always been solution oriented. If I had a dream, I say, okay, I got a dream, but how can I make this happen? It gotta be a way. So I didn't want to fly over here with the queen. See, me, I could fly coach economy. I'm fine with that. I spoke in South Africa 3 years in a row, and then I spoke in Nairobi, Kenya. So that's 4 years, 4 times I went to Africa to speak, and I flew economy, coach, every time. The regular seat in the back. And I sat next to 3 of those trips next to my security guard, my homeboy. He do security for me, and he's 300 plus pounds, but he have broad shoulders, so it's like he real top heavy. Like, so when we sitting in them coach seats, he take up his seat, and then his shoulders come over to like the middle of my chest. Like, that's how broad his shoulders are. And so I'm really in like half a chair, and you know how body heat is. And so his arm is all the way on top of my whole arm and my whole left pec. And I'm sweating. And his leg is up against my leg. And we have on like sweatpants or like some comfortable pants, but my leg is on fire. My pec is on fire. My arm is on fire. I'm sweating, but he can't, chop off his arm. He got broad shoulders. So that's how we sitting, and we flying like that 20 plus hours. So I'm cool. Like, I'm with the grind. But when I'm with the queen, I want everything to be the best for her, because that's my wife. I got to present her blemish and spot free. I got to love her the way Christ loved the church, as Ephesians 5 says. And so I want her to have the best of the best. And so I say, man, I want to fly like first class, business class. And I remember looking at flights, like I remember looking at South Africa, looking at the business class flights, and it was like a regular flight round trip would be 1,500. The first class would be like 12,000. I'm like, why do they do that? I'm like, why do they price it out to where everyday people like myself will never get to that point? That's what I was telling myself. But this is what happened on this trip, and I'm gonna tell y'all this about how a lot of times we put a cap on ourselves. And I'm sharing this because a lot of people, they'll do stuff, and yeah, I'm talking bad about them. They'll do stuff and they want you to just think they filthy rich. They won't tell you if they got a deal or what have you. But this is what I did. I went on Qatar Airways and I searched their flights. And for the round trip flights for the dates that I had, it was I think it was $7,000 a piece. So it was like $14,000 just for the flights for me and my wife. And I was like, man, that's a lot. I said, man, I can't do that. I ain't got that for them. And then I Googled how to fly first class for less. And then how to fly first class international cheap. I'm a bad Googler. My wife always tells me because I put too many words. But that's basically what I Googled. And this site came up. It was called skylux.com. They had an ad running. And they said, fly first class, business class for 70% off. So I clicked on it and I called them. And as I'm talking to the guy, he telling me about the flights, but the prices he's saying, he went to the site to search it, and it's the same exact price that I could book. So I'm like, I'm not finna pay you, because y'all ain't saving me no money. But here's what he said. He said, are your dates flexible? I said, yeah, kind of. I said, I've already made the reservation for the hotel, but I probably can change it. And he said, well, if you come back one day later, the flights are half the cost. So I was coming back, at the last day of the month. He said, if you extend it one day, because, they searching on their system, they seeing different stuff. So when he told me that, I said, well, how much would it be? And I believe it was $3,400 or something like that per person instead of $7,000. So I'm like, what in the world? Just one day difference. I guess they had a bunch of people coming back on that day, and so the prices had went up on them last little seats, but the next day was gonna be a little more wide open. So I went to the sites. I went to Qatar Airways. Qatar is said to be one of the top international flight providers. So I went on their site, and what I realized is he was quoting me the business class, but he was quoting me the cheaper of the two. So he just was gonna put me in business class, but he wasn't doing the one with lounge access. So the one with lounge access would go up to like, I think, $3,800 per person instead of $3,400. And he didn't realize he was talking to somebody that want excellence, talking to somebody that want the best of the best, not somebody that just trying to get a foot in the door. No, I want to own the house. I don't want to get in. I want to take over. And so he was quoting me, because that's his mindset, and he know that's most people's mindset is just get me in. Like, I don't want the best of the no. I want God's best for me. And so I'm looking at the site while he looking at the prices, and I say, oh, so that's this such and such. I can't remember the name because it was two different names. It was like, I can't remember the names, but it was two different classes of tickets in the business class. And he was like, yeah, that's that. And so he probably wondering, how in the world this man know that? I said, okay, well, let me check into it and I'll get back with you. And so I went on, I booked it myself. I'm like, I'm not finna book site. You just trying to put me in this right here so you can hurry get your commission. And so I take and I book it. I think it was $3,800 a piece, but then it was, with your taxes and stuff like that, taxes and fees. Oh man, what is the fees doing? This is crazy. This is so, man, this is crazy. It's like they go acting crazy on the little birds flying over. Maybe the birds and the fish eating the same thing under them. And so here it was. So I book it. And I think for the flights it came out to $8,300 total. So $8,300 instead of $14,000 because I took the next step to Google. Instead of saying I can't afford this and just shutting down and giving up the dream, I've always been the type that I'm finna go and see. I'm finna find a way to make this thing happen. So by me looking, I was able to cut that cost in half. And then what I did is, the reason how this even got in my mind at this season right now is because my wife saw the Ritz-Carlton post this resort, and she sent it to me. And as soon as she sent it to me, you ever hear somebody say, "Your wish is my command"? That's how I am with my wife. Like, if she showed me something, she didn't say, "I want to go here." She said, "Wow, this is pretty." But to me, as her protector, as her provider, anything she showed me, it means she wants it. It means that's what she got to have. It means if you like it, I want you to have it. And that's just how I see marriage, and that's how I see being a man. And so when she showed that to me, I'm like, man, shoot, I need that vacation. She need that vacation. Because when school gets started, we all about our sons. We all about our sons. We don't get nothing for ourselves. It's all about them for the next 8, 10 months, or however long it is, 9 months, 10 months. And so, yeah, 10 months, because you just get June and July off or something. And so I say, well, baby, what days can work? So we looked at that. We weren't able to be over here as long as we want to. So now we're going to plan ahead, and next year, Lord willing, we'll be able to come and stay longer. But this was just kind of on the whim. And so this what it was. I had to, I had the budget. A lot of times people think, oh, if you're doing something like that, you just got money fall out your ears. No, I had a budget. I had to work. I had to wait on some checks to come in. I had to wait on some passive income to come in. And so what happened is you book a flight. You got to put a flight up front. So boom, I put a flight, put it on a credit card where I get the points for it, and then make the payment to the credit card. And then with the hotel, I made the reservation. But see, this is what I did. Instead of going to just directly to the website, because my wife showed me them on Instagram, I DM'd them. And I said, hey, my wife and I would like to come there. Do you have someone that I can talk to about making a reservation? And they said, give us your email. They DM me back and said, give us your email. We'll have someone reach out. So I gave them my email, and sure enough, they had the reservations team reach out to me. And so what the reservations team did is they put me in this, what you call a lagoon villa. They put me in this lagoon villa. And the price on the app, when I went to book it myself, and the price what they gave me was, I think, $2,500 less, but it also included the speedboat transfer, because you got to ride on a speedboat like that right there from the airport. 45 minutes here. It took an hour here, hour back. If on the app, I would have had to pay $750 for that speedboat transfer. I think per person, or I can't remember. It could have just been 750, but they included that. And on the app, all of my meals I would have had to pay for. But with what they gave me, one of the restaurants, we got breakfast and dinner that's included there. Now we're not gonna eat there all the time because we want to try the other stuff, you know. But it's still included. You don't get a credit for it if you don't use it, but it is included in the rate that they gave me. So they threw in, you know, essentially probably, I would say like $2,500 worth of stuff without the cost, and made it $2,500 cheaper than what I had. And then so we booked excursions and all of that, you know, excursions and stuff we want to do. Shark snorkeling got canceled today. And fish over here. That's a shark. That's a shark. Oh Lord. Is that a shark? Oh Lord. What kind of fish is these? That's a shark. Oh, some blue fish. Oh man, that thing jumped out the water. Y'all gotta forgive me. I be like a little kid sometimes. Oh, wow. My goodness. Why talking about getting in here snorkeling? Man, these some baby sharks. This where the sharks snorkeling at right here. Man, I'm not gonna be in there. Absolutely not. Them fish swimming with a little too much vigor. Them ain't no little cute Finding Nemo. Them fish look like they'll do some damage. This thing what right on the deck. So now listen to me. So it came out better, and I think they kind of, you know, I don't know, the reservation team, they probably get incentives when they, you know, close a deal. Because I was like, hey, you know, the time difference. So right here where we are, this is 10 hours ahead of Florida. This is 10 hours ahead of Florida. My wife's asleep right now. Those y'all wondering. But while she's sleeping, God gave me a second wind. I was tired too, but then I got this second wind. I just motivated, inspired. I said, let me talk to somebody. This ain't for everybody, this for somebody. Somebody gonna get to the end of this thing, and that's who it's for. And for the person that get to the end of it, I'm praying God blessing, favor, and just abundance over your life. That everything that you're working for come to pass. Every hope, every dream, every desire. I'm praying that God do it in your life because you're different. Because you setting yourself apart. You separated. You being called out from among them. You different. You're not the same. You're not like everybody else. You special. You chosen. You called. Because everybody can't do this. Everybody can't sit still for an hour and just be fed and listen with humility. It takes humility to listen to somebody on their soapbox talking in the Maldives, and to have a right spirit and not feel like this is bragging and not feel like this braggadocious, but to understand that I'm sharing this so that you can visualize, so that you can envision yourself being able to go wherever it is in the world that you want to go. And so that you realize that just by seeking and taking an extra step, that trip you want to take, it might not be here. You know, so I like beautiful water. It might not be here. Yours might be Dubai. We was on the speedboat with a couple from Dubai. They come to Maldives all the time because it's a 3-hour flight. The woman was American. The man, he from Dubai, I think. But it might be Dubai out there in them sand dunes. But just by believing and walking by faith and claiming it, you could save you a few $1,000s on your trip just by going a step further and searching. And I'm not talking about no, budget trip in the sense of you got to do one of them 3-hour resort thing where they try to sell you on a membership. I'm not talking about that. I just went a couple steps further. DM them on Instagram because they got a presence on Instagram, and they wrote me back, and that saved me a few grand. Googling how to fly business class international for less. Googling it instead of just looking at the people website. And so when I call them people, they let me know about the date. So now for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be playing with them dates. I'm gonna do it leaving a day early. I'm gonna do it leaving a day later, meaning flying from home, and then I'm gonna do it coming back home a day later, a day early. I'm gonna be playing with them dates to see if that flight cut in half, like it did on this one. So it's like, okay, yeah, it cut in half, but it went from 14,000 and some change to 8,000 and some change. And yeah, I had to book an extra night at a hotel, which was $1,600 a night. Which, don't quote me on that rate because this a low season, the guy said. So when you want to come, this is the end of July. When you want to come, it could be $2,500 a night. So don't be writing to people cussing them out. Tony Gaskin said 1,600. You talking about 2,000? Oh, that's because he got a blue check. You discriminating? So it might just depend on the season. So, and then they just opened. They literally just opened in June. So I believe I got a very great rate because I'm essentially testing the thing out. It's never empty here. It's a handful of people here. So because they just and so I say that to say, just by going a little extra step. And see, that's a life lesson. I remember I had a vision. I said I want to fly private. Do you know I went to Googling that thing, and I saw private jets for a 45-minute flight cost $5,000. But how about I found back then it was a company. They no longer in business. It was called Jet Smarter, and the cheapest membership at the time was like $20,000. I got on their mailing list. Then they did one for $17,500. Then they did one for $10,000. And then one day, they did the year membership for $5,000. I signed up because I had a check come in from real estate. I sold a rental property, and out the profits, I signed up for the $5,000 because I said I want to stretch my mind. Y'all call it manifest, but I don't. The jury's still out with me on that manifest word because I really don't know what y'all mean by it. The jury's still out for me, so I'm not for me use words that I fully don't know what y'all talk about. And so I said I want to stretch my mind. I want to see what these CEOs feel like, what these pro athletes feel like, what these music artists feel like. I want to see what they feel like. Private jets. And they had a thing called hot flights, where a hot flight is if I book a jet, if I'm a billionaire and I book a jet from New York to Los Angeles, and that jet is based in New York, well, that jet got to get back from Los Angeles back to New York. So that if it's empty and they got to move it empty, that's what they would call a hot flight. So if you a member, you could get on that flight free of charge. Or you buy a seat. You buy your seat on there. You buy your seat on there for like $320 or something like that. You would buy a seat on the plane. And multiple people could buy it, but typically nobody was buying them. So that happened one time from Florida to Houston, Texas. Do you know on the jet that I flew on, I booked the seat for me and my daddy so he could fly on a private jet. On the jet that I flew on, that flight would have cost me, on that jet, that flight would have cost me $20,000 to $30,000. I got on there for that $5,000 membership fee. Then I flew another one and I took my sister on there. I flew another one, I took my mentee on there. I flew another one, I took my homeboy, my security guard on there. I was giving these experiences to other people, not just stretching my mind. I flew 2 or 3 of them, took my wife on there. Not just stretching my mind, but stretching the people's mind around me to show them what's possible when you step out on faith, when you name it and claim it, when you want something bigger and better than the life you got, when you want to go to the next level in your life, that you don't have to live in lack and scarcity all the time, that you can believe that there is better for you and that you could go out in search of it. And all the while you're working to earn a living, but more importantly, you're working on yourself. You're working on your heart. You're working on your mindset. You're working on your body. You're working on your attitude. You're working on your personality. You're getting that jealousy out your heart. You're getting that hate out your heart. You're getting that spite out your heart. Getting that disdain out your heart. That greed out your heart. You working on yourself. You perfecting your heart. And while you doing that, you still moving forward, one step at a time. And so listen to me. Now when we got here, now they authorized our car for $4,000. So my wife, she was like, man, when you come out here, she was like, you remember the days we would have came out here? If we would have came out here some years ago, we would have been out here speaking in tongues when they said they finna authorize that car for $4,000. He said, yeah, I'm just gonna authorize your car just for a little $4,000. Like, what? Boy, you better be glad I got that new credit card, boy. My goodness, boy, you done come up short. You would have went to another account. That credit card. Thank the Lord, I've been working on my credit. I'm like $4,000. Man, that ain't no little bit of money. You talking about you finna authorize for a little $4,000? What the world? And so listen to me. So I just gave you the whole blueprint of how we got out here. And the reason why I'm doing that, because the way my mind works, I be wishing somebody would do that for me. Because I like to visualize. I like to set a goal. I like to say, okay, $8,000 to fly first class. Now you could fly coach. Now you could fly coach. It's just I was bringing a queen, so you could fly economy. There ain't nothing wrong with it. They treat you good. Cause I love flying to South Africa on that economy. They feed you every 3 hours, and you got the movie, so it was comfortable to me. I ain't had no problem. But now this here on Qatar, the thing lay down like a bed. And they make it up for you. They put a sheet on it. They got your blanket. They give you some pajamas to put on. They give you socks. They give you an eye cover. They give you a mask. They give you sanitizer. They give you toothbrush and toothpaste. And they got a vast menu. You could get shrimp. You could get steak. You could get, Indian food. It's like the vast menu. Great. Everything was good too. It was like they had Bobby Flay in that kitchen. I'm like, my goodness, how is plain food tasting this good? And all the drinks in the world that you want. I had some kind of lemonade with mint. That thing was refreshing. And so it just was amazing. They help you every step of the way. You get up, they walking you into the bathroom, open the door for you. I'm like, my goodness. Service this is, we wanted to tip them. Service was so good. And then on the next one, now we had men. Men should not be stewardess and all of that, because they just don't know what they be doing. Like, women just have a touch, for making you feel at home and all that. Men, they do just enough. My wife said it to me. She said, you see the difference between a man serving and a woman serving? I say, yeah, they need to sit these men down somewhere. But the flight was at 1 a.m., so I think they give those tough shifts like that, 1 a.m. to whatever. They
give it to the men, like just, I guess maybe figuring it's harder on the body and maybe thinking it's less desirable job or whatever, and the women is better at the job anyways, just because the energy different. You just don't really want no grown musty man leaning over your food. But that's neither here nor there. But my wife pointed that out, because the ladies on the first flight, they was amazing. They was so amazing. The next flight we had 2 guys and they was okay. And that flight was shorter though. The first flight was 15 hours. The next flight was 4 hours. Or about 5 hours. The layover now, that's why I did the lounge access, because the layover was like 7 hours. But with the lounge access, they had like some little sleep pods in there. They had like, all kind of, water, juice or whatever, different workstations, And then the airport we flew to was Doha. That was our connecting. So we flew out of Miami, Florida, and then we went to Doha, Qatar, which that airport is amazing. So we was actually able to do a little shopping for the boys and little souvenir stuff. My wife loved souvenirs. And so it was amazing. And so the time flew by, and then we was able to lay down and sleep in the sleep pod for like an hour or so. I slept. She said she couldn't sleep. So that whole trip, when you look at it, I think the first flight was 15 hours, 7-hour layover, 22 next one. So 26, 27 hours to get over here. That's more than a day. And at this place where we at right here, we are 10 hours ahead of Florida time. So I'm guessing that would be 13 hours ahead of California time, I'm thinking. So yeah, but I wanted to share this because, to be honest with you, I'm in awe just of the beauty of this place, the beauty of this room. My wife in there, she in the bed asleep. You can't really see, but you see that's a robe, that gray thing, that's her arm. And see the old light over there. And it's a little mini bar over there. Table over there. They had us a bottle of champagne. And out here you got this here table where you can eat breakfast and look out over it on this here view. So I'm still just in awe, and I'm laying on this here thing, big seat, couch looking thing. But I had to shoot this video and just take this in because, I read a quote that say, be the person that you needed. Be the person that you needed. I needed this. I needed this. Like, I'm in a different place in my life and I still got somewhere to go. But even where I'm trying to go, I don't see nobody. I don't see nobody that's giving me what I need. Like, where I'm trying to go, like, they ain't talking enough. Like, Elon Musk ain't talking enough. Jeff Bezos ain't talking enough. Steve Jobs didn't talk enough. Tyler Perry ain't talking enough. Oprah ain't talking enough. Like, where Tyler Perry course at? Where Oprah course at? Like, what's the mindset? Like, what you did different to become a billionaire, to become worth 300, 400, 500, 700 million, $1 billion. Like, how did you take your gift to that point? It ain't even about the money, but they say that your net worth is a direct reflection of the value you add to the world. Now, that's true and not true, because some people could be worth a lot of money and they adding crap to the world. And then some people could be worth a little bit of money and their purpose is great. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But my thing is, it's questions I have that I won't answer. How important is a team? can I keep doing what I'm doing, going the way I'm going, and just trust God to add to it, to add to it, to give me an idea in the tech industry or whatever that's gonna be world changing, and let it do what it do. And see, my thing is about living purpose, meaning that you touching lives, you making lives better, but at the same time also living life to the fullest, because you only get one life to live. So you shouldn't live in misery and stress and worry, because you only get one life. You don't get to do it twice. So I want the absolute best that life has to offer, that earth has to offer, before I go to eternity. Because once I seen that it said that the desires of your heart, once I seen that it said that you ain't got to worry about food and clothes, because you're gonna be taken care of. Once I seen that it said if you don't work, you don't eat. Once I seen certain little key things, I'm like, hey, that's all I need to see. I'm gonna work, I'm gonna believe, I'm gonna walk by faith, I'm gonna trust. But I'm gonna believe that I'm gonna be blessed going and coming, that I'm gonna have favor that abounds, and that I'm not gonna have to compromise my self-worth, my self-respect. I'm not gonna have to compromise my belief system, my integrity. I'm not gonna have to compromise those things to get where I gotta go, to do what I'm called to do. And so I just want to share this with you, just to motivate you, just to let you know, like, that dream you got, the dream that's in your purpose, the dream that's in your profitability, the dream that's in your passion, the dream that's in your life, what you want to do, what you want to see, that it's okay to have those dreams. It's okay to have those dreams. It's okay to dream. It's okay to believe. It's okay to walk by faith. It's okay to be different. It's okay to be the only one that make it out. I hope you're not the only one that make it out, but it's okay. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to love yourself. It's okay to walk alone in the seasons that you have to walk alone. I pray you don't have to walk alone forever, but it's okay to walk alone in the seasons that you have to walk alone. Last week, I received, a blessing on Cash App, and I said, what come to me as a blessing, it was laid on my spirit to bless a family member. And so all last week I blessed that family member. And then soon as we get here today, we land, I look at my phone and it's that family member. Hey, I need 500. Send me 500. I'll get it to you next week. After I just pulled out blessings. But see, guess what? My heart God didn't give me peace about that, because I just gave last week. And the family member is not disabled, not in no need. Everything, what I gave was blessings on top of them already being blessed. And so God didn't give me peace. So the answer was no. It really wasn't no answer, because I ain't answered nobody text message while I'm out here. I ain't answered nobody text message. Everybody can wait. Everybody can wait. And because I need some time to meet, just me and God. And so it's like I'm talking to you, but this ain't you not talking back to me. I'm gonna post this video, and we're gonna be going back and forth in the comments and all that. So, and this is the thing, is when you live your life for your purpose, like, you never get away from your purpose.